The BRSCC BMW Compact Cup is brought to you by Nankang Tyres and Gas Shocks.
This could be one of the races of the day so far and one of the races of the weekend, because it's the first of three for the absolutely sensational Nankang Tyre BMW Compact Cup. These guys are always an absolute riot wherever they go. And they've got three races here this weekend, including their first ever 30-minute race that's taking place tomorrow on Sunday. So that'll be double the race that they normally run, which is 15 minutes. So they'll be hoping to last this distance and hopefully make sure that the tyres and fuel can last it as well. So, as they make their way around, you'll notice that actually for the first time in a while, it's not Stephen Daly on pole position. So we'll have a look at the grid and show you where they start. So it's Ben Huntley on pole position after that excellent performance in qualifying. Stephen Daly, the points leader, starts alongside him on the front row of the grid. Then it's Guy Davis with an excellent third place, followed by Mikey Doble in fourth. Then followed by Ian Howes and Reece Claydon, with Matt Flowers and Ian Jones running out the top 8. The top 10 is then completed by, on row 5, Paul Maguire and Lee Denny Sadler, then followed by Mike Doble Senior as he's known, then ahead of Jim Barrett, then it's Simon Welton and Ray McDowell back in 14th with some work to do. He's already qualified higher, but got some work to do from the 7th row. Thomas Langford, his first appearance of the year, so he's welcome back in 15th place, followed by Russell Cager in 16th place on the 8th row of the grid in car 68. Then it's Ross Stoner and Richard Sutherland from Gareth Claydon and Martin Gadsby, Matthew Adcock and Cliff Harper from Thomas Middleton and Ian Shepherd on the 12th row of the grid. So we continue to scroll down onto row 13. We have Chris McGinley and Pete Smith with Stephen Somerville and Henry Cook. And then Tom Evans, Gregor Pryor and Peter Parsons to round out this mega 31-car grid. It's always ever packed for the BMW Compact Cup, and always a pleasure to watch them race. So, what's happening in the championship? Well, we've already had two meetings. The first of all at Croft, and then we had an epic two-day meeting at Knock Hill, which was another triple header as it is here this weekend. It was one of the absolute classic in Knock Hill, one of the best things they've had for in the championship's history. Some brilliant racing back and forth from that fantastic circuit in Scotland. But what it has done is, after two race wins at home and also then a third place after charging from deeper in the field on the reverse grid, it puts Stephen Daly in the lead of the championship with 246 points, on course at the moment so far for a potential 5th Compact Cup title in a row. Yes, I did say 5th because he has been that dominant. Second place currently for Ben Huntley, who starts on pole position. He's 20 points back with 226 and only 3 ahead of Ian Jones, but Ian is starting further back in the top 10, so he might have some work to climb up from row 4 on the grid. Paul Maguire, who is 4th overall, also leads the Masters contest for drivers 45 and over. He's battling away as the defending champion in that category from Ray McDowell. There's a 12-point gap between them, but Ray, of course, further back in on the 8th row of the grid, so he's got quite a bit of work to do from, again, deep in the field for him. Mikey Doble is 6th, who is tied on points to Ray McDowell. Mikey's having a busy year this year, not just racing in Compact Cup once again, but also dovetailing it with a season in the Ginetta GT5 Challenge, which is very similar to these cars. Got a small, short, rear-wheel drive, quite potent little engine, so quite similar cars, and so one car tends to complement the other, which is quite nice to see. Then we have Reece Claydon, who's currently sat in 7th place. Guy Davis is 8th, Matt Flowers is 9th, and Richard Sutherland rounds up the top 10 in the points so far. So up onto the grid they come then. Again, the long straight should certainly help with these guys, but the little rear-wheel drive nature of these little E36 1.8 litre BMW Compact Cups cars should be quite fun to watch as Ben Huntley parks his car, gives a little wave to the camera as well, even time to do that as he looks across at his rival. There's a bit of a staring match going on there between those two. They're out to look at each other and signal that he's ready to go. Up goes the wind. Up, if you know he's focused when up goes the electric window. And they're lined up side by side on the grid. The top 2 in the championship, top 2 on the grid. Watch out, of course, for Guy Davis and for Mikey Doble from the 2nd row of the grid. Ian Howes is in there too as well, but also the likes of Ray McDowell and Paul Maguire and Ian Jones have got some work to do from deeper outside the top 8 positions. And as we mentioned, this could be the first of 3 at least, one of the 3 best races of the weekend, because they've got 2 more tomorrow. And is it going to be quite a way to add to what's been a mega day of racing so far with the Fiestas, the STXRs and the City Car Cup cars that have been out racing today? Been quite a day, isn't it? But there's more still to come. We've got this and 2 more races, the 2nd Fiesta Championship race and the 3rd City Car Cup race coming up after this one. So we're not done just yet. So hold on to your seats. This could be a blinder. Last few cars are getting into position. This mammoth 31 car grid, this colourful and vibrant BMW Compact Cup grid, full of all the colours of all spectrum of the rainbow with all these fantastic looking liveries. They're all set to get underway here for 15 minutes of action here in Norfolk. Revs are up, the red lights are up, and the 5-second board is ready. They're creeping away, they go. It's a good start from the front row. They're going on the outside right from Stephen Daly. They've hit the charge down towards Richie's for the first time. Yet again, they're 4 abreast in the mid-pack. Don't do that down towards Richie's corner, it might not end well. But Stephen Daly, despite starting it on the outside of the front row, leads into Richie's corner from second place on the grid. There's a bit of a lock-up in the midfield as they turn in through the right-hander for the first time. 3 abreast in the mid-pack again. They're still trying to sort themselves out and towards the rear as well. But I think, fingers crossed, they've all got through safely. So Daly leads in. Oh, big slide from Ben Huntley on the apex of the hairpin at Wilson. Almost comes unstuck with Mikey Doble right behind him. Guy Davis now under threat from Reece Claydon as they turn up towards Palmer's for the first time, and Claydon looks to the outside line, then goes to the outside line, and Davis tries to hold him back as much as he can. Might just show him the grass, which he doesn't. Oh, 1 car off the road in the background, 2 cars off in the background. Well, I think he's possibly Gordon McMillan, if not, if it was someone else, in fact. The other one was Lee Eddie Sadler, who went off first, and the car that went off behind him was car number 6. And that, if I look at my entry list, if I find it again, was, in fact, car 6 was Simon Welton. So Simon Welton came a bit grass tracking. They're exploring the Norfolk countryside, but both of them find the circuit once again, and they're back on the road to continue back up the order. There's Ian Jones in the black car with the pink trim on the bottom of it. Tries to squeeze up the inside of Ian Howes, who had a bit of a wild ride at Knock Hill when he found himself off the road and walking over the curbs, which damaged the car something on the other side. He has to get it repaired up and carried in that place. Snetterton, slightly shaky start in the next couple of places. Williams onto the back straight towards Brundle Nelson for the first time. And Stephen Daly, well, Stephen Daly is as Stephen Daly does, which is just get into the lead of the race and absolutely dominate. And he's trying to do that now already by putting a small gap away. Huntley looks to be in second place, but under threat from Mikey Doble. There was some dust kicked up in the foreground, so that looks good. That looks interesting. Coming towards... Oh, there's a battle going on there with the 46. That was, I think that was Doble Senior as they're turning through the right-hander. There is Doble Jr. attacking Ben Huntley. There's Reece Claydon having one of his best races so far in 4th. 5th position is, that's Guy Davis, who's right on his tail. 6th is now Ian Jones after a strong start. I have to check exactly where he started. We'll look at the timing screen. But Stephen Daly just up back in front again and dominating. His gap was already 1.7 seconds, nearly 1.8 at the end of lap number 1. So even starting off pole position, but still on the front row, he's still able to get into the lead and pretty much sail away initially. So Daly leads then, Huntley in 2nd place. It's then Doble in 3rd, Mikey Doble in fact, 4th for Guy Davis. Well, will be 4th for Guy Davis in a minute if he's allowed through by Reece Claydon, which he is. Slots up the inside at Wilson, and he might leave the door open for Ian Jones, and also maybe even Ian Howes might get involved as well. So the order's changed around again. More cars are running wide on the exit of Ritchie's and making their way through. Onto the back straight they go. A little wide there from Guy Davis in 4th position as now the battle for seconds on. There goes Mikey Doble looking this way and that, but I think that Ben Huntley has it covered. Here comes Ian Jones with a big light dive at the inside into Agostini, and thankfully Reece Claydon saw him coming as he goes up the inside into what is now 5th position. So Ian Jones is on the move then. You can tell he's a championship contender. Something he has been over the last few years because he does not hang around at all when he's deeper in the pack. He certainly gets a quick start and tries to make his way through as quick as he can. There's Paul Maguire in the black and green machine, the leader in the Masters contest. They've come out of the right-hander Oggies. Apex 16 Williams, someone's kicked up dust. Well, it might have been Davis again. Just might be Ian Jones license to go for another position. I think it is. I think it was Guy Davis. As there goes Ian Jones. Ian Howes is tucked into the slipstream. As there goes Stephen Daly. There goes 2nd and 3rd. It's now Mikey Doble in front of Ben Huntley. And for 4th, it has changed again because there goes Ian Jones up the inside, past on the back straight of Guy Davis. Then Ian Howes is right with him. He thumps the curve as he's just ahead of Reece Claydon. He just changes all over the place as they turn in through the right-hander at the bomb hole. Claydon tries to come back at him into the right-hander, but at the compression, he has to back out. And Ian Howes remains in position after taking it after Guy Davis's mistake. There goes Daly. Mikey Doble, who keeps getting quicker and quicker each season. I'm pretty sure that the season running in Genesis is teaching him a lot about other cars and rear-wheel drive. Oh, someone's ringer has gone flying there. Can't quite tell who it was, but someone now can't look either left or right in their mirror. There goes Ian Jones in 4th position, Guy Davis in 5th now, and that puts Ian Howes into 6th. Let's get lap times. So fastest lap of the race actually has now gone to Mikey Doble. He's a 10th quicker than Stephen Daly in front. 2 minutes 24.190 for Daly, and it was a 24.099 for Doble. So first proper flying lap off the grid. It's Doble who sets the pace at the moment. He's got to pull in 1.8 seconds to get back up to the tail of Daly if he can. He's got time to do it. It's already a third of the race is gone, so still 9 3/4 minutes to go. As for this lot, they're still busy scrapping over 4th position because Ben Huntley looks pretty secure in 3rd, even though he's only half a second away from challenging Doble to repass him again. But 4th, 5th and 6th turn their way out of Wilson now through Palmer's. Ian Jones being chased down by Guy Davis. Repass him. Here goes Ian Howes going right to the inside line to defend from a resurgent Rhys Claydon, who simply just outbrakes him into the hairpin. But even though Howes tries to come back at him, it's not going to work. No, it's not. So Rhys Claydon with a daring move down the outside line, got it stopped and managed to get part of the car right on corner exit, stop Ian Howes from getting through. So impressive stuff from Rhys Claydon there. You can tell that's a KC Motorsport prepared car. He's been learning from the master himself, Stephen Daly. This is one of his better results, better starts to a race so far. Remember, in his first season when he was competing, he was sort of mid-pack for most of the year and then popped up at Silverstone and picked up a very strong 3rd place. And he's been able to repeat it since then, but getting quicker as the years gone on, as the seasons have gone on, and he's in a position here at Snetterton where he's already the top 5 or top 10 runners. So great stuff so far from Rhys up in P6 now. There's his teammate Stephen Daly. There goes Doble and Huntley in 2nd and 3rd, chasing him down. There's 4th and 5th. Jones and Davis just try and close together. And I wonder if they started to work together now. They've realised if we keep fighting, we're just going to keep losing time to the cars in front and to the cars behind. So let's see if we can run in tandem. Let's see if we can punch a bigger hole in the air together. Let's see if we can catch up to the cars in front. You have to remember, there's not that much time to do it because it's only a 15-minute race. And they will do what they can to close back in. If Ian Jones is leading them a line, you can be certain that the group is going to be pretty quick. There goes Flowers ahead of Jim Barrett. Simon Welton now still ahead of the battle going on with Mike Doble. And I think Ray McDowell was behind Mike Doble Sr., but now he's dropped behind lead Andy Sadler and a couple more. So a bit of a change of position there. Cross the line go the leaders. Stephen Daly takes the fastest lap of the race back again. 2 minutes 23.549. He's a 10th quicker at least than Mikey Doble and the rest of the pack. So Daly leads. Doble 2nd place. Huntley 3rd. Jones 4th. Guy Davis 5th. Oh, there's a tap in the rear there from Guy Davis under braking on Ian Jones, but Ian will certainly get it. He's not afraid to get his elbows out when he's challenged, so he's not afraid to go for it when he's challenging. So Ian Jones is one of the most exciting drivers in the championship. He certainly knows how to put on a show wherever he's racing. They head out to the left-hander at Palmer's. Now down towards Agostini again. Here comes Rhys Claydon. He wants to try what he did to Ian Howes on Guy Davis, but I think Guy's more focused on trying to repass Ian Jones. So these two aren't really working together. They're still locked in combat and realising that the top 3 are starting to escape up the road and get ever smaller in their windscreens. Rhys Claydon, meanwhile, is up the inside and he wants to get himself into the mix too. The Master Mix Concrete car gets into the mix. He's into P5 now. And here comes Ian Howes up the inside to take another place from Guy Davis and steal 6th away if he can. Up at the right-hander at Oggies. On the exit into Williams. If we can get that a bit further up the inside into Williams, he can try and hold on to the position. Guy's got great momentum on the exit of the corner to try and get past both of them. He pulls alongside Davis, using a toe from Ian Howes in front of him. Gets past one. Can he get past the other as they come down towards the complex of ground now? So he's going to go for it. Unless Davis goes a little deeper onto the brakes and holds on. There goes 2nd and 3rd. There goes Jones. Claydon. Then Howes. And now side by side is round the outside goes Paul Maguire. Into the apex of Nelson, little sideways on the exit. Guy Davis is over the curb. Somehow keeps his nose in front. They go back towards the bomb hole almost side by side. Oh, and that was close as well. Paul Maguire really had to back out of that one. I thought there was going to be contact, but Paul Maguire realised that going to that right-hander, he didn't really go side by side through there, particularly with the compression right at the apex of the corner. That was never really going to work. So Paul Maguire sits back and we'll try and assess an option here with about 5.5 minutes to go. Try and get back past him again. So down the pit straight they come once more. Daly continues to lead. There is a black and white flag going out, and it's for car 6, which is Simon Welton. That's a warning for track limits. So if he carries on transgressing, he will get a time penalty, as we've seen a couple of drivers do so throughout this weekend already. So he has been warned, so they've got to be careful not to stray too far across the white line anymore. And so was Guy Davis, because he was going quite wide there. He missed the apex completely of Ritchie's, as Ian Jones now comes under a big pressure from Reece Clayton, who really is on a charge in this first race of the weekend. Seems to have the pace. His last lap was a 2:23.891. He's on the same pace as roughly the couple of cars in front of him. The last lap for Ian Jones was a 2:24.665, and Clayton was about 8 tenths quicker. So he's now putting himself alongside, and I think there's going to be a change for 4th as Doble and Huntley carry on for 4th place. How's it looking? He is in front, so Reece Clayton's managed to get through. So another place gain for Reece Clayton. He's on the charge. Now, it's a big ask, but with 4 minutes to go, can he catch the top 2? I think the answer might be almost certainly no, because unless something happens between them, lap time pace between Clayton and the second and third is fairly same. It was 2:23.8. Doble and Huntley are on the similar sort of pace, 2:23.8 to 2:23.7. So I don't think he's going to make it through on this occasion, as Ian Jones gets a big slide on through the apex of Williams' corner. And this now gives him a real chance for Ian Howes to try and squeeze past. I'm not sure if that's just how it's set or just if it's come down a little bit, but Ian Jones, the exhaust, gets awfully low at the back of the car, so that's just how they've set it, or if it really has dropped down a little bit. There goes Ian Jones, who's trying to defend on the outside line from Ian Howes, but is going to have track position, I think. A big lock up from Howes. They're all both slide wide. Ian Jones is off onto the grass, and he almost hits Guy Davis, who goes slots past and gets 1. Might get a second. Here comes Paul Maguire up the inside as well. Ian Jones loses 3 spots. Davis goes up the inside of Howes. Maguire gets sideways on the exit of the bomb hole. Now all through Corm they go 2 by 2 into the long right-hander. There goes Clayton, blissful ignorance as he pulls away. Here comes the quartet into the complex at Murray's. Was that Ian Jones going off the road for some reason? The mechanical problem was just off the road on the grass. Yeah, he's dropped another spot now too. That with Matt Flowers. So I think possibly, is that Ian Jones in trouble? Second and third have gone through. There goes Reece Clayton. There goes Howes, Davis and Maguire. Now there's Ian Jones. He's got back up to speed again. I reckon he just lost his momentum. Possibly he missed a gear as well, and that's cost him a few car lengths and a few seconds. So he's got some work to do to try and get back up to these guys if he can. Guy Davis isn't finished. He's getting stuck in once again with Ian Howes. Up the inside into the Wilson hairpin he goes. Gives him the space, hits the apex. Thank you very much. Through he goes. And Paul Maguire says, can I come too? Can I try and squeeze through? He's going to try, but Ian Howes gets a nice drive off the exit of the corner and goes through. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Stephen Daly, without a care in the world, is 4 seconds to the good in the lead here. So it looks as though it's going to be another win for him this afternoon. First of potentially as many as 3 this weekend if he plays his cards right. There's, of course, the third race is a partially reverse grid. So I think it's a random draw top 10. So the top 10 are basically the numbers 1 to 10 are placed into a bag, and then simply they're pulled out at random. And so whichever order they're pulled out in, that's the order of the top 10 for the third race, based on where they finished in race 2. So that's what created such a fantastic race at Knock Hill, which saw Stephen Daly climb his way through from that. He was 9th and 10th on the grid, and by the time he got to the back of the lead between Ian Jones and Ben Huntley, the race was over. So he will be playing Stephen, but he will be charging on to try and grab as many points as he can before he might possibly get pushed down through the back of the top 10 for that third race, if the clock doesn't go in his favour. 15 on the clock still to go in this race, so next time they go past the start and finish line, it will be the last lap of the race. Ben Huntley's closed back in on Mikey Doble. There goes Reece Clayton in one of his best results for a while, in 4th so far. And Davis and Howes continue to scrap over 5th and 6th. Little lock up from Howes and to Nelson. Both are using the curb on the exit to get a bit of run into the bomb hole for the right-hander. Through into Murray's they come for the penultimate time, and Mikey Doble Jr. is looking to try and hold off Ben Huntley here. Of course, he came into the weekend in points. He came in 6th in points and 204, but he's outscoring Ian Jones and Paul Maguire and Ray McDowell. So last lap board goes out. Another warning for track limits, and that's cars This is interesting. Car 68's been given a warning, which is Russell Cage, but also so has Stephen Daly. Car number 1's been given a warning for track limits, so that's interesting. 4.6 seconds is the gap, but if he keeps on running wide too much, you might well get a time penalty. Now, the first time penalty that you get is 5 seconds, so if Stephen Daly does get a penalty, as whoops, off the road has gone 311. 311 is Henry Cook, in one of the more recently built KC Motorsport cars. He is, if he is able to get a lead up to more than 5 seconds, if he does get a penalty for track limits, it actually might not affect him too much. He'll still keep the victory, but the timing screen will say that it's the prediction gap would have been less than a second or 1 point something seconds. So it might not tell the full story, but you see here, Stephen Daly has got quite the advantage. He really pretty much is the class of the field in the entire Compact Cup at the moment. And while the likes of Ben Huntley and Ian Jones can take the fight to him, just weekends when Stephen Daly is just that little bit better than everyone else. And even though you missed out on pole, he's fighting for it in the race here. He turns his way through right-hander at Williams and into the back straight. And as I said before, he's had ambitions of racing Gianetti's and moving up the motorsport ladder. He's one of those drivers where, and I mean this in the most polite sense, he kind of his talent has kind of outgrown the championship, and where he's a fantastic driver and he's brilliant to have in the championship, but there's many that feel that he's talented enough to be in some of the higher echelons of British motorsport going forward, and I think certainly has to be one of them, even though he's a fantastic asset to the championship. And brilliant to have him in it. And of course, he's on course at least to try and go for an unprecedented 5th Compact Cup title in a row. And certainly performances like this are what he needs to carry on racking up the points to make it happen come season's end. He heads into Maurice for the final time. You almost run out of superlatives for this man, don't you? Because he keeps on getting at the front of the field, he keeps on dominating, keeps on winning races. He's going to do it once again for this year. It'll be his 4th win of the season, and another big score to get back towards a 5th consecutive title. Stephen Daly once again punches the air with delight and wins the first Nankang Tyre BMW Compact Cup race. It's a sprint to the line for second between Doble and Huntley. Oh, that was a digging towards the line. Who got it? Doble got it on the line by 0.020 seconds. 0.02 of a second between Mikey Doble and Ben Huntley. Brilliant. That was unexpected. I know they were close, but Huntley got such a great drive off the final corner and just missed out on the second place for Mikey Doble. Brilliant stuff at the end of that. I thought it was going to be a thriller. Rhys Claydon with a brilliant drive to 4th. That's one of his best drives in recent times. Ian Howes picks up the final top 5 spot ahead of Guy Davis, so he did repass him in the latter stages. Paul Maguire 7th. It's then Ian Jones 8th, Matt Flowers 9th, and Simon Welton rounds out the top 10. Jim Barrett then comes 11th. It's 12th for Mike Doble Senior. Lee Denny Sadler is in 13th, Ray McDowell 14th, Richard Sutherland 15th, Russell Cage is 16th, then Thomas Langford, Ross Stoner, Martin Gadsby, and the P20 is car 164, Thomas Middleton. And the rest of the order as they came across the line. From 21st downwards, we had Chris McGinley, Cliff Harper, the 17 of Pete Smith, followed then by Gregor Pryor, Stuart Somerville, Gareth Claydon, Matthew Adcock in 27th place, and Henry Cook, the 104, of Tom Evans, Peter Parsons, and the one car we lost that didn't make the flag, sadly, was the 33 of Ian Shepherd. So unfortunate stuff from him, not make it to the flag, but the other 32 certainly did. And of course, as we said, it's another victory for Stephen Daly in the BMW Compact Cup. So, as we say, he will be pushing forwards to try and pick up more wins. Of course, they'll be back with 2 more races tomorrow for the BMW Compact Cup. Of course, that second one, the third one being, of course, the double distance 30-minute race, the first ever 30-minute race in BMW Compact Cup history. So, a lot of firsts this weekend. Of course, it's the first weekend with 4 Fiesta Junior races, the first ever weekend for the City Car Cup. It's the first weekend that's destined for the Club Sport Trophy, first ever 30-minute BMW Compact Cup race. And even though as you see there's a bit of conversation going on between Ben Huntley and Mikey Doble Jr. on that one after a brilliant race between the two of them. And of course, all smiles for Stephen Daly as well, who of course takes another victory too. So thumbs up to everyone involved. I'm sure they all enjoyed that one. They certainly looked like they enjoyed it. And Yeah, Mikey Doble holding on by just 200ths of a second in the end.
Oh,
good. Well, there's Josh Barrett. He's going to have a chat to our top three. Let's hand down to him in Parc Ferme to have a chat with winner Stephen Daly, second place Mikey Doble, and third place Ben Huntley, the race runner of the weekend for the BMW Compact Cup.
So we're down here in Parc Ferme for the Compact Cup. Stephen Daly just rushed off. We're getting back in a minute. Let's go in reverse order then. In third place, Ben Huntley. Ben, do you want to make your way over here? So Ben Huntley took third position, but it was a very, very close battle all the way through. You were so close to getting it on the line.
Yeah, I mean, that was about as close as you get in compact racing, to be honest with you. Yeah, I tried every single trick in the book to try and get Mikey, you know, cut backs onto the back straight. I actually got in front of him coming onto the last lap, down onto the Bentley, and yeah, he just got the draft on me, same as I did onto the start-finish straight. You know, race 2 and race 3 tomorrow, different races, but again, nice to be on the podium, good Hall of Championship points. Unfortunately for me, Steve, again, takes more points out of me in the championship, but anything can happen in an instant in this series, so you know, get our head down, see what went wrong on the start. Yeah, you know, I bogged down a little bit, and whether that was my reaction time or whether I didn't warm my tyres up, so we'll look back at the data and find out what happened. But other than that, happy, you know.
As you said, tomorrow's going to be a very different day, maybe in many ways. The weather forecast looks interesting, to say the least. How do you like the wet conditions?
I must confess, I absolutely love the wet. I did my rain dance this morning, but unfortunately no rain, so I'll be doing it again tonight and tomorrow morning. Yeah, Alton Park 2020 was, yeah, I think probably the highlight for me of my wet weather driving, you know. So this is a different circuit, of course, so we'll see. I know Ian Jones is mighty fast in the wet, Steve himself is mighty fast, so I think if it's wet tomorrow, depending on how wet and what the conditions are, I think it'll be a cracking fight between the three of us for the win.
Well done on third position. That's looks like second place, Mikey Doble with the circuit comms. So we get Steve. See if we get Steve Daly over here, who's returned to Parc Ferme. Well done, Steve, and another win for you there, and the start was really important.
Yeah, the start was very important. Like I says, I think we had the pace for pole this morning, but I didn't execute the lap personally. The car was there, but I wasn't this morning. So, I mean, starting P2, that was great. It was all just getting off the line. I've done a lot of practice since my last round in Knockhill. Well, starts weren't very good, so I've been coaching myself on the starts, and just look at what happened. We got the lead before the first corner, so I'm happy with that. From then, it was just Mikey Doble and Ben Huntley just having a little battle behind us, and that just allowed me to stretch out the lead and take the win. So,
you've obviously been around the Compact Cup paddock for a while now. What makes you keep coming back year on year?
Fantastic little championship. I mean, they're cheap cars. They're probably the cheapest form of motorsport you can kind of enter into. Obviously, the ambition for most of these drivers is to get to touring cars and things like that. But I mean, what a spectacle these cars are to get your foot in the door for that.
But obviously, I think you raced against James Gornall, who did this and went on, and he did very well in BTCC. Yeah. So it just shows you the quality of drivers at the front of this field.
Well, that's it. I mean, it just shows that this championship can produce the BTCC level driver. And you know, me and James had a lot of good battles, and you know, there's Jordan Stilp had good battles with him, and there's a lot of good drivers, a lot of good names that have done well up the top, and we can hang with them. So, I mean, it's kind of speaks for itself, if you like.
Well done, and we get Mikey. You're going to grab Mikey for me. So Mikey Doble, who took second position in that race, and as I was saying to Ben, your battle was pretty close.
Yeah, it was intense the whole way through. We battled like that in the previous round at Knockhill, so we've got a lot of experience racing with each other. Yeah, I managed to get by him early doors, and then the race kind of settled down a little bit, but he always stayed within my slipstream. He was never more than half a second apart, and I started to make a few mistakes second half of the race, and he got right back on my bumper. And then the last lap was just brilliant. We swapped places a couple of times, side by side across the line. Yeah, very exciting race.
This circuit does seem to bode its well to pretty good racing when you're really close. You've got the toe, and you've got lots of different types of corner.
Yeah, well, there's almost as many left-handers as there are right-handers. So, you know, the moves never really finish, you know, because you can be side by side round one, and then they've got the inside for the next. Lots of long straights, good towing, keeps the pack close together. So expect more of the same tomorrow.
Well done on your second place finish. So that was our second place man, which was Mikey Doble. We spoke to Ben Huntley originally, he was third, and the winner once again, Stephen Daly.